right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Brandao Collection. Today, we're actually going to start something a little bit different. I've had a few people reach out to me. I've had a few people leave some comments. I've also talked to some family and friends about it. And also just something that I wanted to do for a while on this channel, on top of our normal kind of more specifically edited type of videos. I thought it would be fun to have some discussions, some more kind of loose and unedited type of conversations about things going on in the pop culture collecting world. Specifically about, of course, the things that we majorly collect here, which of course is your autograph collection, your 1/6 scale figures that we have back here, comic books, maybe delve deep in the future into our Disneyland collection. I actually just recently redid my Disneyland collection. It's actually off to the side of me right here. Kind of updated our display here, made it look a little nicer, kind of made it front and center some of our highlighted pieces. But just wanted to kind of come up with a flow here, come up with possibly a schedule over time that we can do this weekly or bi-weekly. It's kind of all dependent on the feedback that I get from the community and on if you guys are interested in sitting down and kind of listening to me ramble on about things going on within the pop culture collecting world. Maybe the goal in the future is to have some guests that join us here on our show, some people from different types of communities. Some of my friends who are in these collecting communities talk about those things, and maybe even some other types of guests that we can get if we continue to grow and make this thing pretty big. If you guys are ready to kind of sit back and listen to this, I'm not entirely sure how long of a conversation this will be, but there's a couple different topics I wanted to talk about today. Specifically talk about some things going on currently as we're recording, go into some of my thoughts on these and go from there. So in those cases, like I said, this is going to be unedited, just me kind of rambling on about those different topics, and we'll take a look and have some conversations, and I'll give you my thoughts on some of these things and go from there. Now, today I wanted to really just kind of jump in and talk about things going on in the autograph collecting world, since that's pretty much where most of my collecting energy goes to nowadays. The last 2 to 3 years have been primarily focused on collecting autographs. Um, as you guys have seen here on the channel, we also throw in every now and then your 1/6 scale figure, your comic books, and so forth. But the majority of my time and energy has been into autograph collecting and being a major part of that community. So that's probably going to be what we talk about the most on this. But I want to talk about, there's a couple big signings that are just announced within the last week or two. Some of them are sold out already. Some of them are upcoming. Some things are about to be sold out. So I want to kind of talk about those, and they go across a couple different autograph companies. Now, of course, here on our channel, one of the biggest companies that we support and ones that we get the majority of our collection from is SWAU. And that's really just because they offer some of the biggest signings that have ever happened in the autograph collecting community, whether that be within the last few years and just in general when it comes to what companies have offered autographs throughout the years. There are a couple others that we order pieces from every now and then, but not as much as what we do with SWAU. And just to be transparent and honest, that I do have a lot of friends that are a major part of the behind the scenes of SWAU, people who I talk to all the time, and get kind of insight into the behind the scenes of how the autograph community works, how the world of private signings work, and just the bits and pieces, a lot of like insight into how to actually run a private signing and how they get put together and all those different types of logistics. So I do know a lot of people that are a major part of SWAU that are part of my personal life there. But that doesn't mean, like I said, that doesn't mean I won't order from other places. If other autograph companies are offering a signing that I can just get through them, that is a great opportunity, then I'll go ahead and order there to add those pieces to my collection. So let's actually just talk about things. So as we're talking about Swayu specifically, this is the one I actually want to really talk about. The first of two different big signings that are going on right now. So the first one that I actually want to talk about, and I will share my screen here, is going to be this one right here is the Anthony Hopkins signing. Now, this is something that kind of came out of left field. I was not expecting. Now, of course, Swayu, anything's possible with them, with the people they've gotten in the past. Of course, they've had Natalie Portman, Robert Downey Jr., Winona Ryder. They've had Keira Knightley, which actually, as we're recording this, just got announced that signing is complete. And pieces started shipping out. I actually just got my tracking number right before we were recording this. So those pieces will hopefully be here within the next few days, and then we'll do a video on that. But they've had some big signers that have never done a private signing before. Corey Burton is another person that comes to mind. People who haven't done signings before, people who maybe have signed scribbles on the street after a show or after a premiere or something like that, or even people who have never signed before these private signings, and now you have them in the collection at what I always think of are pretty reasonable prices, considering how rare some of these people are and how great these opportunities are. And were kind of teasing for about a week or two that a really super big rare first time private signer was going to be announced pretty soon. Of course, everybody's speculating. The usual Scarlett Johanssons get thrown out there, all the different ones. But then Anthony Hopkins was announced, and I went, "Oh my god, that's not one that I was thinking on the list." But that is somebody who definitely deserves the respect, and somebody who deserves the kind of perking of the ears to listen and see what opportunity this really is. And then it got announced. It went up for sale last week. And now, as of this recording, they just announced maybe an hour or two ago that it's almost sold out already. So it's only been about a week. It took about a day or two for it to be about 50 to 75% sold out within a day or two. Now, for anybody who's part of the Swayu VIP club, they were the ones who actually purchased all the character names, inscriptions before it even went public. So there weren't that many character names or quotes or inscriptions available. And everybody who's part of that club was able to get all those before the sale even went 100% public to everybody who's not part of that club. So that shows you just how rare this signing really is, and what a type of an opportunity it is. And then once it did go public, like I said, about a day or two for it to get up to almost 75% sold out. And now we're right on the edge of it being sold out as of this recording. Even though you can even see here that the deadline to order is not actually until the 11th of December. So it's definitely going to be sold out way before the deadline. But this actually, along with him being part of this announcement, one of the awesome things they did is Winona Ryder, who I mentioned earlier, was a signing that they announced. Another person who had never done a private signing before. I ordered a few pieces of from her back when that originally went up for order, but her deadline was maybe about a month or so ago, roughly. And so you were not able to order any Winona Ryder pieces once Anthony Hopkins went up for sale. And of course, the two of them were in the 90s Bram Stoker's Dracula movie. So a lot of people were asking, is it possible to allow for Winona Ryder orders to go with Anthony Hopkins? And at the time when he first went up, it wasn't able to do that because she was closed. There was no orders allowed. And then they did the wonderful thing of actually being able to kind of pull the strings and figure out whatever they need to do behind the scenes to get things moving. And they were able to get Winona Ryder orders back open. So now people could order. those dual pieces. So whether you want to add both of them to a Dracula poster, or you want to have a piece with both of them on the same photo, or any of those types of things, now people can have those Bram Stoker's Dracula cast pieces, especially with two people who prior to this had never done a private signing. So the opportunity to do that was not available prior to now SWAU offering both of them. So all they need to do now is get Gary Oldman, which I don't think is impossible. I think it's very possible that that happens at some point. I don't know how long it's going to take for that to come up, but it is very possible for them to pull off something like that. So if they do, between Dracula shots, Sirius Black shots from Harry Potter, many other things, maybe even Fifth Element shots. There's a lot of different things, or maybe even to go along with Anthony Hopkins, another movie, Hannibal. He was Mason Verger in the sequel to Silence of the Lambs. So that's another opportunity to get the two of them together. You could start a Hannibal piece now and then wait for Gary Oldman to do a signing sometime in the future. Who knows? But either way, Anthony Hopkins, Winona Ryder on a piece is something just incredible. The opportunity that's available with that. And you can actually see here, he's $300 starting price, which I think is incredible. I mean, of course, it's a lot. And not everybody is going to be able to jump on this opportunity. But if you have to think about it and break it down from there, $300 starting price for a multi Academy Award nominee, an Academy Award winner who's been in, I can't even imagine how many movies are to his name. Not even just that, but how many movies people know that are to his name. You, of course, have all his Hannibal Lecter films. You have Bram Stoker's Dracula. You have the last Transformers, one of the last Michael Bay Transformers from there. You have the Two Priests. You have a lot of different movies come from there. You have Zorro, the first Zorro and Antonio Banderas. There's a lot of different movies that you can kind of go down the list there with Anthony Hopkins. And I just think I got to keep saying it, is that the opportunity is just incredible for that. And you can see, I'll scroll down here a bit, is that you have all these different photo options available. I'm just going to open up the photo page here. You can see here just, of course, I totally forgot. I'm talking about Transformers and I'm not even thinking about Thor. I'm not even thinking about Odin. Why am I thinking about Transformers over Thor? But of course, you have all of these Odin shots from Thor, from the sequels, from Ragnarok, from the Dark World. All these from his early career: Elephant Man, Amistad, of course, Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal. But you could see one of the things too, I got to give you a call out. There's even in here Beowulf. You have the Wolfman, the Benicio del Toro Wolfman movie. There's a lot of great ones in here. Hitchcock. But you can see as I'm scrolling through here, another thing I have to call out, I've called this out on a lot of my videos as well, is that I think that SWAU is the number one, like you cannot argue this point. The number one thing that they do, other than their customer service, is their photo options. There is no other autograph company in the industry right now that offers the amount of photos that they offer, and at the extremely high quality that they offer them. The biggest problem that I always have when it comes to a SWAU order is, which photo do I pick? Because I'm sitting here staring at these albums for maybe like an hour or so, going back and forth and thinking to myself, okay, which photo am I going to get? Because there's like 50 options for the one character that I love from that actor or actress. And I need to figure out which one is the one I want to pinpoint it down. I usually pinpoint it, go from, okay, let's say I pick 5 photos and say, okay, out of these 5, which 2 do I bring it down to? Then I bring it down to 2, and then I go, okay, can I afford to order both of these? Or if I can't, if it's a more expensive one, okay, I'm only going to order one of this one. So which of these two is the one that draws me the most to them out of the two? Or let's say it's an actor that is part of a specific series of photographs that I'm getting signed. So like I have my Avengers Infinity War set. So I'm getting all the character posters from Infinity War signed by everybody who is able to sign. So if a signer that's part of that Infinity War set comes up, then of course I'm going to order the photo that corresponds with that set that I'm trying to complete. So that's an example of something that is very specific that helps me pinpoint. But otherwise, I'm just kind of going through here and trying to figure out, okay, what image do I want to go with? Like, look at these. Like, these are fantastic. These are some that you've probably seen for many years. And you might even, if you go online right now, go on eBay or somewhere else that sells autographs, you'll see some of these images signed by him from on the street at premieres and different situations. But I'm sure that however this comes out, once the signing actually happens, these things are going to look fantastic and a lot different than what you get on the street. And for the people who got the opportunity to order those character names, inscriptions, the quotes, and so forth, that's going to be something that's never been on the street. So there's no, there may be something out there. Now, don't quote me on that because I might not, I don't know specifically. There may be ones out there that have some kind of character name or might be inscribed to John or something like that. But with quotes and a full character name, those probably don't exist. Probably. There, and if they do, there's so little of them existing in the world that you sure people are holding those close to the chest or selling them for exorbitant amount of monies, way more than what it costs to actually just order a photo right here. Just do it off of the website and pick the photo that you enjoy the most and have it in the collection, the photo that you like, instead of just picking some random one that somebody got on the street. So that's one of those things. But yeah, you can see all these great photos from his entire career that you can get those opportunities. Westworld is another one in there. It's just incredible. But those, as you can see there, is perfectly a good example and something that I wanted to start off with in this conversation and starting this kind of new series of just off the cuff talking about what's going on in the industry right now and kind of what those different pieces are. So so that's the first one. So Anthony Hopkins is the first one that I actually want to talk about and go from there. Like I said, as of this recording, he is almost completely 100% sold out. So if he is still available at the time of when you're watching this, I highly recommend that if you would like to add him to your collection, you go and order that right now. You jump on that, order your piece. That way you don't miss out. Now, Swayu is fantastic at having some inventory pieces after a signing is fully completed, after all of everybody's pre-orders have been shipped out. They have their inventory sale, so whatever's left over they got extra of, they'll put that up on their store. But that does not guarantee that the image that you want is going to be there. So that's the biggest thing to keep in mind too, is that if you want a specific image signed, order it at the time when the pre-order is up. Because if you don't do that, once the inventory goes up, you're probably not going to have the photo that you wanted originally. Now, you might, they might, if it's a very popular photo, if it's something they see that a lot of people are ordering, they're going to order extra of those and they're going to have extra signed. And so they'll have them as inventory. But if it's a photo that people are least likely to order or something not as common, it's probably not going to be signed extra. So go ahead and order it if that pre-order is still available in there. I'll include a link to Swayu's website in the description of this video. So that way you can follow on their website. And you can also sign up for their notifications and everything when things sell out and also when new signings go up. So we talked about Anthony Hopkins. Now, other than Anthony Hopkins, the big hullabaloo, the big thing that was going on in the autograph community last week was this really, really big thing that was announced by Official Picks. So Official Picks is another autograph company. They've been around for over 20 years. Of course, they specialized specifically in Star Wars autographs back 20 years ago when they kind of started things. And you can actually see just popped up right there was Mark Hamill. So Mark Hamill was announced that he was going to be returning to signing autographs again last week. I'll actually go back right here. So here's some of their upcoming signings. You have Mark Hamill here, and you can see Mark Hamill's already sold out. He sold out in less than a day, I believe. I believe it was it went up for sale. They announced it one day. It went up for sale the next day, and it sold out before the end of the pre-order day. So before it actually switched over to the next day after that, it did fully 100% sell out. And then they also announced that he was going to be at Fan Expo San Francisco later this year in November, I believe. And when that went up for order earlier this week, it basically almost crashed the website and he completely sold out again for his in-person autographs and photo ops. So he is somebody who, of course, people were waiting to see if he would sign again after many years of not signing. The last time he signed was 2017 at New York Comic Con, which is actually the time that I met him. The only time that I met Mark Hamill was the final signing that he had ever done up until what was just announced last week. So from 2017, that was October of 2017 to now September of 2023, he had not done any type of signing. He did some signing on the street, which you might have seen some, for those of you who follow kind of things going on in the autograph community, you might have seen things on like TMZ or other places when he kind of got hit in the face by some street graphers when they were out trying to get him when he did the Walk of Fame ceremony for Carrie Fisher a few months ago. So that was a whole big drama about him getting hit in the face when they were going crazy trying to get his autograph. But other than that, he hasn't signed. He did some charity work, I believe, for the Ukraine last year. He signed some posters for that. He's done some little kind of charity things here or there since 2017, but he hasn't done an actual sit down private signing where people can send in their items to get signed. They can pick what photos they want to get signed, all those things. So it was fantastic that he got announced. However, when everybody saw how much he cost, then the conversation changed. So it's sold out here, so you can't really see it. So the send-in deadline's not till November because he's doing that signing in San Francisco at Fan Expo. But his starting price was almost $500. So the way you got to think about it is that when he last signed in 2017, I believe he was around, I only got one thing signed. I got one 8x10 signed. And he was almost $300. It's like between $250, $300, I believe, for an 8x10. So that was 2017. Now, prior to 2017 and prior to the sequel movies, so before Force Awakens and Last Jedi and so forth, he had done tons of signings. He went to a ton of different Star Wars Celebration events. He did a lot of other types of conventions across the country, even outside of the country and other places. And he was a very prolific Star Wars signer. Him and Carrie Fisher were always at conventions. They were always doing events. And that's something that, even though I personally have been going to conventions since about 2003, 2004, so about 20 years I've been going to conventions ever since I was a teenager. I had never actually met him until 2017 because it wasn't really till then that I had a full-time job that I could pay for things on my own without depending on my parents or my family to pay for them. So he was expensive, but he was not $500. He was like maybe $100, $150 back in the day, from what I've heard from people telling me, maybe even less than that many years ago. And then Last signing, like I said, I believe, if I remember correctly, he was around $250, $300 per autograph. And now he's up to $500 starting price. So that's even before you count in the cost for the photo. So the price difference is different between 8x10 and anything else. So anything that's bigger than an 8x10, they added another $115 on top of that, just because it was not an 8x10. So an 11x14, which is the next size up, is an extra $115. So other places may only charge $10, $15, maybe $20 for it being an 11x14, just because it is a bigger photo size. It costs a little more when you print those out at the printer. So they do that. But an extra 115 just because you're going to an 11x14 is a little crazy. And then you get into your posters and your much, much bigger sized items. You get into getting your character names, inscriptions, your quotes. Even though he was only doing very basic quotes, very basic character names, and so forth. When I priced it out to get my items that I wanted to send in signed, so I only wanted to do 2 items. I wanted to get an 11x14 of Luke, the dual sunsets from New Hope, since that's a shot that I've always wanted. I wanted to get that, pre-order that, and then I have a Cantina shot that has the majority of all the actors who were in the Cantina scene. So all the people who were the aliens and so forth. It even has Peter Mayhew on there, Chewbacca, one of the few pieces that have that. So the 2 people that are missing on that shot are Mark Hamill and Anthony Daniels. So I wanted to get the 2 of them on there. When I priced out that 11x14 shot I wanted, plus that 8x10 to get him signed, it was almost $1,100. So I believe it was actually over $1,100 once you took into consideration the tax, and then it was about like $30 to $35 for the shipping. So it was between $1,100 to $1,200 for me to get an 11x14 and an 8x10 signed. Just those 2 things. And that no inscriptions, no quotes, no character name, just his name on those 2 items, which blew my mind. It just, I couldn't. I didn't order anything from this signing. And I have to be honest about it. And I don't mean this, whether I'm talking about this now or any other type of session when we have more of these types of conversations again in the future. Just to be honest, it's not against a specific company. I just think that that's too much for those who, no matter what your income may look like, no matter what your financial situation may be, whether you're blessed with the ability to drop lots of money on any type of signing that may come your way, no matter how many pieces you're ordering, or you might be a person that I can only afford to order 1 autograph the entire year, not per month or not week or anything like that. Just the entire year, I can only order 1 thing. That's all I financially can do. No matter what your financial situation is, I know he's Mark Hamill. He's Luke Skywalker. He's the main character of the Skywalker saga. And his story goes from there. Other than, of course, Anakin, Luke is the main character. And he is important to the community. He's very important to the world, and to movies in general, the history of movies, not just people who are fans of Star Wars. But considering how prolific of a signer he was prior to 2017, the amount of pieces that are out there in the world that people had signed, they're numerous. There are tons of signed photos that exist in the world. There may be certain shots that are not signed, of course, because anything that came after 2017, he hasn't signed. So anything from Rise of Skywalker has not really been signed because he hasn't done a private signing since that movie came out. Any new kind of higher res versions of the shots of the Mandalorian, as it comes to mind, his appearances as kind of his deep faked kind of CGI version of Luke from the Mandalorian, those shots have not been signed because he hasn't done a signing until now. He hasn't done a signing when those episodes came out. So those are situations for that. So I don't know. it's really kind of a thing from there. Now, for anybody who did place an order on this, fantastic. That's I think that congratulations. I think that's amazing for you, and I mean that 100% seriously. Is that if you're excited for this signing, if you're excited to get this piece in and have it added to your collection, that's fantastic. I have two pieces from Mark Hamill in my collection. I have the one that I got at New York Comic Con 2017, which is actually up on my wall behind me on above this Star Wars arcade system. Um, and I also have a signed Return of the Jedi comic book that I got graded by CBCS that is at a 9.8 that I have graded from there. So that's the two Mark Hamills I currently own, and I'm going to keep an eye out for more pieces that people let go over the years, because even when this signing was announced and then when it sold out, people started kind of letting go of a lot of their Mark Hamill pieces on the different Facebook groups on eBay for a lot cheaper than what he cost to actually just order from the brand new signing. So you have these much nicer and clearer versions of his autograph that he signed years ago that are going for cheaper than what the current signing was going for. So that's another reason why I decided not to order anything from this signing. But like I said, I can talk all day about whether or not it's worth it to buy into this autograph signing. He sold out in one day, in less than a day, in a few hours. He completely 100% sold out, both for private signing and for his in-person event in San Francisco. So no matter what I say, it doesn't really matter because everybody used their money and said with their money that they want in on this signing, and they want to have Mark Hamill's autograph in their collection, whether they had one already or whether these be people who don't have a Mark Hamill in their collection right now. So I think it's a great opportunity for people who didn't have Mark Hamill or needed to complete some cast pieces that he was the last one that was needed on there. But since other than the Anthony Hopkins signing, that's the biggest signing going on right now. I just wanted to kind of throw my thoughts in there and go from there. But like I said, this format that we're going through, I know we're taking a long time to talk about these things, but this is more of a kind of free form type of way of talking about these things going on in the community, and hopefully you guys are actually enjoying listening to me kind of ramble about these things. But so that's Mark Hamill. That's kind of my thoughts on it, where things are at with that signing. And I'm interested once he does that signing. So that signing's in November. I'm interested to keep an eye out on the groups and see when people start uploading these autographs that they got from him. I want to see what they look like. His autograph in the last few years has been pretty shaky and pretty shortened compared to what he used to do. I mean, he's getting up there in age. I've seen in some videos his hands are a little shaky, and that just might be just because he's getting older. So that's nothing against him. It's just that's what happens when you get older. Things change with your body. So his autograph has changed because of that. So some of them are not as nice as what some pieces you might get that he signed many years ago, maybe 20 years ago, or even 10 years ago. So we'll see what those look like once that signing's actually done. Some things I actually want to point out while we're here on the official picks page. They have a couple other signings here that look pretty cool. Sylvester Stallone sold out. Mary Steenburgen, who Back to the Future 3, of course, many other things too, but that's somebody who, for anybody who's a Back to the Future autograph collector, she's a person that people have never really been able to get pinned down to complete some Back to the Future 3 pieces. So that's a good opportunity there. Going back to their page, I actually saw they're going to do a pre-order with Anthony Daniels. So he signs a lot, but it's great to have an opportunity. And Jennifer Connelly, who's actually somebody who I don't think has ever done a private signing before. So if you want your Top Gun Maverick shots or Labyrinth, of course, any of those things, that's a great opportunity for anybody from there. So like I said, it's nothing against any particular autograph company. When it comes to that piece, I order from Official Picks whenever they have good opportunities of things coming up. But just want to throw my 2 cents in there with Mark Hamill. But Okay, so we talked about Anthony Hopkins, we talked about Mark Hamill, and one of the last things I actually want to talk about is another company called Twin City Comics. So Twin City Comics is people I've actually sent in a lot of different pieces to them over the last few years to get completed. They've helped me out with a few different Marvel multi pieces that I've done. They helped me out with my Civil War Team Iron Man shot. I got that started with SWAU with Robert Downey Jr. And then Twin Cities actually was able to get it partially completed now with um, War Machine with Don Cheadle, and also have Paul Bettany on there as Vision. So they were the ones that I sent this in to get that signed by them. They actually have a piece right now out with them. I got a Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness piece signed by Sam Raimi back in June of this year at Philadelphia Fan Expo. I sent it in for it to get signed by Benedict Cumberbatch. So that is another person that we can add to that piece there. And I also ordered through there Zoe Saldana, who was actually just at Rose City Comic Con, which you can see right here. That is another piece that I ordered through them. So they've done a lot of different signings, and they've always been good. I haven't had any issues with them. Everything comes back looking nice. They're very upfront if there's any concerns or issues that come up with the pieces being sent back, which I haven't had any up to date now, but I don't really have any problems with them. They kind of facilitate as kind of a middleman between those pre-orders and send-ins to the people who are actually holding the signings. So a lot of times the signings are actually run by, let's say, like Celebrity Authentics or Ace. Ace is another name that you've probably seen, especially associated to your superhero characters, your like Marvel or DC actors who show up at different conventions and private signings and so forth. And then they partner with these big companies that make their contracts or deals with these celebrities. And then TCC or Twin City Comics, they facilitate the actual like ordering of the photos, set the send-ins that people send in to get signed from there. So you can just go in and see like what signings they have available. So like I'll go to current signings. You can see a couple of things that are closed already, some things that are outgoing. You have Benedict Cumberbatch, like I mentioned. You have Bradley Cooper, Chris Hemsworth. You can see Ace on here, Celebrity Authentics, Colin Farrell, Evangeline Lilly, Hugh Jackman, Florence Pugh, Michael Keaton was a big one the last few months ago, and all that. So you have all these different ones kind of ongoing at the same time. You can see all these different ones. You could send things in, or you can order photos directly through their website. They have these private signings. They also, like I said, partner a lot of times with different conventions. You can see here Rose City Comic Con, Rhode Island Comic Con, and you can see which celebrities they're offering from them. But the reason why I bring them up is because this morning, anybody who's part of their mailing list got a update. I'll pull this over on the screen here in the middle, that Patrick Stewart is doing a signing with them. So they're going to be offering pre-order photos, and they're going to be offering customer send-ins for this. They did announce that he's going to have a starting price at $275, which I think is the most he's ever charged. He has done private signings in the past. I do have one photo of him as Professor X from a signing that happened, I believe, a year or two ago. That one had very limited photo options. They were basically just like table photos, what you would get like when you walk up to a celebrity at a convention. They weren't really that great of an option, but I wanted to throw in there because I didn't have a Patrick Stewart in my collection yet. But now he's going to be signing again. As of this recording, it's actually going to go up for sale on 9/28 at 2 p.m. Eastern. So you can see there, it says right here that there be not be any inscriptions available. They actually sent a update email a couple hours after this saying that that was incorrect. He is going to be doing very limited amount of inscriptions, like your character names and so forth. But like I said, it's going to be very limited. I don't know what type of what limited means, like how many, but they just said very limited on what he's going to offer. I'm going to keep an eye on this once it goes up and see, other than the starting at 275, how much he costs altogether when you put all the costs together. Because maybe I'll get an updated shot for the MCU, the Multiverse of Madness shot, if they have that available. Just throw it in there because I have an original X-Men shot. Throw it in for my MCU collection since he didn't make an appearance officially in there, and see what else they have available and just kind of peruse it and see what they because see, like right now we need items by October 30th. They're having an extremely short time period, so it's already the end of September. So basically, you have less than 30 days, or roughly 30 days, to actually order and then send in your item to get signed. So that way we can go from there and have that. So that's something I want to point out. And Lupita Nyong'o is signing again. So she did one signing with them about a year or two ago. I always am contemplating if I want to send in my Black Panther poster to add her to it, because my poster has Chadwick on it. It's the only Chadwick Boseman autograph I have. I got it for a steal, for at least in my opinion, for how much his autograph goes for nowadays, because unfortunately he's no longer with us. It's one of my prized pieces in my collection, and I don't really want to take the opportunity or the possibility of it getting lost in the mail. No matter what type of service I pay for, no matter how much money I spend on getting something shipped a priority or whatever else, I don't know if my anxiety would be able to survive losing that piece. So I don't know if I would do it with that. Now I trust the company itself with handling it and getting it signed. That I'm not worried about them. I'm not worried about the actual signing company. I'm more worried about the actual postal service, whether that be the U.S. Postal Service, UPS, FedEx, any of those. I don't really trust them. So we'll see. We'll see if I end up ordering something, ordering that and getting her added to my Black Panther poster. But either way, I have a one piece of hers that I got from the last signing from Force Awakens, got a Maz Kanata shot, but maybe I'll get a Black Panther shot just to, instead of sending the poster and just have that in the collection. But we'll see. That goes up tomorrow on the 28th as well. Well, tomorrow as we're talking right now. It might be in the past for everybody who's listening right now, depending on when this video goes up or when this audio goes up. So that is Twin Cities kind of information there. They have a lot of updates. They have a lot of things. They actually just finished Chris Pratt, Colby Smulders, Sharon Stone, Shameik Moore, Chris Hemsworth, Benedict Cumberbatch I mentioned, just finished. Michael Keaton just finished. Any of those people from Rose City Comic Con. They have some cutoff dates upcoming and so forth. We have a couple people in here like Bill Skarsgård and Florence Pugh. We're coming on 2 to 3 years waiting for those signings to happen. That is not really the fault of Twin City Comics, because those signings are with other companies and they're just a partner for those signings. So they have to wait for the main company to make a schedule with the celebrity. And then once that's scheduled, then all those items that they are holding can get signed. So Twin Cities is waiting just as much as we are for those signings to actually happen. So I actually like the Florence Pugh one. I have Haley Steinfeld items that were part of those orders. I actually didn't use Twin Cities on that one. I used a different company called Comic Monster for those orders. Now, Haley Steinfeld has signed like 2 or 3 times since I sent those items in to get signed. But because her order was combined with Florence Pugh, they have to hold all those items until Florence Pugh signs. So who knows when she's going to sign? Like I said, it's been almost 2 to 3 years for both Bill Skarsgård and her since those orders went up. And they still no end in sight for when those signings are actually going to get scheduled for that. Who knows? Hopefully it happens sometime soon, but I'm just waiting for the day they show up at my doorstep and I'm like, oh, there they are. I don't even really kind of spend a lot of time worrying about it at this point. It was so long ago I ordered those. It doesn't even really, it's just when it shows up, it shows up. I have so many other pieces coming in from all these other different types of signings I've become a part of that I don't get too worried about these ones I ordered 2 to 3 years ago, for that, because we have a lot of those. Like the big like I'll talk about some other ones. So like we talked about those with Twin Cities or Ace or Celebrity Authentics. Um, if you go back to Swayu has a signing with Pedro Pascal those orders went up, I believe, in 2020 or 2021, and he still has not signed. He did a first round of signing, which is the pieces I have in my collection are from the first time he signed with them. And then he was supposed to do a second round of signings, and he still has not done those. And it's been like 2, 3 years for that as well. And once again, that's not at any fault of Swayu. They've given updates on that saying it is completely up to the fact that Pedro Pascal is one of the busiest actors working in the industry right now, even with everything going on right now with the strikes. He is one of the biggest celebrities working. And it's just pinpointing and getting him to agree to a specific date and time has been difficult, even with a contract. So even though they have a contract stating he has to sign and he will sign, um, they just can't pinpoint a specific date and time and a place because he's just so busy. So it will happen because like I said, he's got a contract, he's set to do it. But it's just, when will that happen? So that's another one. When it shows up, it shows up. I don't even remember what I ordered at this point. I ordered a poster, I know that, with the entire cast of season 2. I believe he's the last one to get signed on there. Everybody else has signed except for him. And Idris Elba too. He did half. He signed half of the stuff he was supposed to sign, and then he went off and got really busy again. He lives in another country, and he hasn't signed the other half of items. So I actually have one item from him, but I ordered 2 things. So one of the things came in, the other one still hasn't arrived. So we'll see. We'll see when those happen. But like I said, it'll be a pleasant surprise once they do show up. I have no really concerns about those. I know they will show up at some point, but it's really just interesting to see how this industry works and go from there. And as I mentioned earlier, hopefully, if we continue kind of doing this series and having these conversations, I can hopefully have some other people from the industry here on the call, on this conversation, I should say, to talk about these things and talk about a little bit, as much as they can, of course, about the behind the scenes and how a private signing works and getting those celebrities and getting all those things. And if I have that information and I'm able to share that with you, if that's information that's allowed to be presented to everybody, I'll be happy to throw that in as we have these conversations and talk about things happening in the community from there. So that is all of the things that I wanted to really talk about today and go over. I know we've spent a long time talking about a lot of different things, a lot of different signings uh, going on, and just kind of figuring out our groove and where we would like to go with this particular series, with this new format for our channel. If you guys enjoyed this, please let us know. Comment on this. Feel free to send us private messages through our social media fields, here on YouTube, on anywhere else that this is posted. Feel free to send us a comment, a private message, and let us know your thoughts about it. What things would you like to see? What types of conversations would you like us to have when it comes to the world of autograph collecting, the world of any of these other types of collecting fields? And we'll take that in consideration and kind of go from there and figure out what's the best way to grow this and have this opportunity. And the other thing too is that I want to make this something that's consistent. So we'll come up with a schedule that we can all agree upon, with myself and kind of just life in general, and figure out what that schedule is and go from there, and see if we can come up with something consistent that you guys can listen in and hear what we have to say about what's going on in the world of pop culture and the pop culture collecting. So I want to thank you so much if you stuck around this long to listen to me talk and ramble on about all these different things and just whatever came to the top of my head. I appreciate that, and I really enjoy talking about these types of things, and hopefully that comes across, and hopefully I can share that with all you, and show you that it's always great to share your passions and have a place to have those conversations, and whether that be with your friends, with your family, or if you don't have that opportunity in your personal life, you have a safe space here to have those types of conversations and talk about things that you love when it comes to these different topics. If you aren't already, if you stuck around this long and you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe to our channel, like it, share it with whoever you think may enjoy these types of videos, whether it be our conversation we had today, or any of our other content on our social media and our YouTube channel. And let us know any other ideas and different information there in the comments. So thank you so much for listening in, for watching, if you're watching on our YouTube channel. Thank you, and as always, keep on collecting.